Hey guys, Bobby and Brennan here with Nerdlocker. We've got some comic reviews for you.
I got to read Batman.
I know, you always get to read Batman.
All right, guys, I got to read Batman number 9. Court of the Owls is in full swing. This story is awesome. I've actually loved some of the tie-ins, but with Batman, we're getting the main story with Bruce Wayne defending the Batcave. He's got a couple tricks up his sleeve. I love Greg Capullo's artwork in this. I mean, he's blown me away from the first issue, and just every time I see it, it's just the colors that are chosen are awesome. It's so detailed. Everything about this book is incredible. And we have a backup story with artwork from Raphael Albuquerque called The Fall of the House of Waynes. It's kind of showing what the Owls have done to Thomas and Martha Wayne, as well as Jarvis Pennyworth, Alfred's father, who was the previous butler. This is just all around an awesome book. It's completely knocking it out of the park. I'm giving this 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Got a chance to read Scarlet Spider number 5. I've enjoyed this so far. I kind of like having the basically Spider-Man. I mean, Kane is the clone of Peter Parker, but you get Spider-Man without, you know, all the goody-goody kind of thing. He doesn't care. In this issue, they're taking down a nuclear bomb in Texas, his new base of operation. And there's a little weird thing. They kind of do some stuff with the Avengers movie, it looks like. I mean, you got Nick Fury's son, who is Nick Fury, a black guy with an eye patch, and Coulson, and Maria Hill. I mean, that's just a little part, but get to see Iron Man in this. This book has been nonstop action so far, and I'm going to keep reading it. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Lastly, I got to read Trio by John Byrne. I am not the world's biggest John Byrne fan. I have a lot of respect for the guy and everything he's done for comics and the comic book industry, but personally, he's not one of my favorites. This book is a trio of superheroes. They call each other 1, 2, and 3, but the press has given them 3 other names due to their powers. One's name is Rock, one's name is Paper, and the other one's name is Scissor. Because one's a rock guy, one is basically as flat as paper, and the other one has scissor arms. So yeah, you got a rock, paper, scissor superhero book. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't feeling it. It could be cool, but I don't have a lot of hope for it. I'm gonna give this 2 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
So Higher Earth number 1 came out this week, a book written by Sam Humphries. You may know that name from his previous books he's been putting out recently. He did Sacrifice a couple months ago, and then he did, before that, Our Love is Real, that really weird book about a future where people can have sexual relations with anyone or anything they want. He has some weird concepts, he's proven that, but this one isn't too weird. It's a world-hopping roller coaster adventure. It's got radioactive freaking mechanical bears. It's so cool, this book. Kind of reminds me a lot of Sliders with Jerry O'Connell from back in the 80s and 90s. It was really good. I want to recommend this book. Plus, it's kind of like the continued adventures of Cable and Hope, if I can compare it to anything. I want to recommend this book. Go read it. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. So Walking Dead 97 came out this week. Of course I read it, and you know I loved it. This issue is far different from what we've read the last few issues, though. Everyone is full of hope, and they have high hopes for what's coming in the future. Very different, as I've said. This is a very gloomy book, but I want to say that this arc of The Walking Dead I see has a high potential of being one of the best in Walking Dead history. So I highly recommend it. I'm going to give Walking Dead 97 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. So Invincible 91 came out this week. If you remember what happened in the last issue, Dinosaurus had a huge falling out with the Emperor of the Viltrumites, and Dinosaurus had to save the life of Invincible. He pulled him away from the Emperor's ship and flew him the heck out of there. Unfortunately, the rest of the hero community did not see it that way. They all kind of assumed that Dinosaurus kidnapped and is hurting Invincible, so Adam Eve has pulled together a team to try and go down, take down Dinosaurus. Will Invincible be able to stop them from hurting him? That is what you're going to find out in this issue. I highly recommend it. A whole bunch of stuff happens. It's action-packed. Go out and pick up this issue. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey, this is Haley with my review of Courtney Crumin number 2, and I usually get this comic thrown on me. Nobody else really wants to read it, but I actually enjoyed the first one because it has a very Emily the Strange type feel to it, and I really like that about it. I enjoy the Emily the Strange and just kind of that, you know, gothic teenager. It's just fun to read. But after the last one got me really enthusiastic about it, I was really disappointed in this one. I feel like all you're learning about is victims of Courtney Crumin. I would say victims, and there's not much going on until the very end, and I feel like that was kind of the gimmick of the last issue. So unless they change their stories, I'm not really going to be interested in it, so I can only really give it 2 nerd skulls. Hey, I got a review of Captain America number 11 for you, and I love Cap, but I haven't been able to read the series because I never know when to start an arc, and I just decided I would read this one, and I was lucky enough to get into part 1. And I have to say, I was happy that it was part 1, but I was a little underwhelmed because I felt like Cap wasn't in it quite as much as I would have liked. It was set up for the future of the story, so I understood it. And he definitely did kick ass, so I was happy with that. But I'm gonna give it 3.5 nerd skulls, hoping that it'll get a little bit better in future issues. Hey, I've got a review of the Perplexing Mondo number 2. I was interested in this because it was narrated as I was reading it. It felt like I was reading a film noir in comic prose or comic form, and it was funny and entertaining, but like there wasn't a story to it, so I would even almost call it like a film noir experimental film. And there's a giant chicken, there's a satellite, there's something about Uranus, the planet. I'm very confused by this book, but I still was wildly entertained by it. So I'm gonna give it 3.5 nerd skulls.
Hey there guys, Cubby here with my comic reviews this week. First up, I got to read Green Lantern number 9. Whoa. This has answered a lot of questions that we had about the Indigo Tribe, what the Compassion was all about, who these members are, what they do. All of it's answered here. Where they come from. I can't even really talk about how cool the story was because it gives so much away. Ebenser was doing a lot more than we thought he was. Sinestro is in massive amounts of peril, it seems. And at the end of this, giant cliffhanger, giant kind of like, whoa, what's gonna happen? Where does this go from here? You gotta stay tuned for this book. It's one of the best DC is putting out. It's so far out from what is going on in the rest of the DC universe, just because it's already like been established for the last couple of years, but it's so far out and so crazy. There's nothing, no other book like it, no other book that looks like it, because Doug Mahnke is a genius when it comes to artwork. So I gotta say, this is one of the more perfect books in DC. It's 5 out of 5 book. Check it out. All right, guys, I got to read Fairest as well. Fairest number 3. Amazing cover. First off, I got to say, Adam Hughes, you're doing a great job, bud. Also, the story, I gotta say, I missed the second one. I have it. I'm a huge Fables fan, and I do have it, but I haven't read it. I read this one thinking it wouldn't really mess anything up. It kind of did. It kind of gave away a lot of stuff, but it gives a more detailed approach, more detailed look at Briar Rose, the Sleeping Beauty, of her kind of coming around. She's the main character in this first story arc, and we get a lot of how she got her powers, she got her magic, not really magic, but her beauty, all those great things. There's some funny, cool little things, some blessings that shouldn't have been given. Overall, it's just a great book. Storytelling-wise, it's fitting in really well with Bill Willingham's style. It just feels right. Phil Jimenez's artwork has something to be left desired. I'm not a huge fan. If you are, it's probably a great-looking book, but I don't like it. Anyways, this is a really, really good book. You guys should totally be reading this. I'm going to give this 4 out of 5 nerd skulls. All right, my next book is Thief of Thebes, number 4. This is a really, really good series. I'm really enjoying this from Robert Kirkman and Nick Spencer. They're doing a really good job with this. It's really good storytelling. They're jumping back and forth, telling flashbacks, telling stuff that's happened in the future. It's really, really fun. This issue answers a lot of questions, gives you a lot more of what the plot was about, what's going on. It's really, really rich and awesome. I love the artwork in this book too. This is definitely an action-packed issue that really kind of pulls at the heartstrings. And it's just a good comic book in general. So I'm going to give this 4 out of 5 nerd skulls as well.
All right, that's going to do it for comic reviews this week. But until next week, be sure to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and nerdlocker.com for all your nerdy news. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Bobby.
See you next week for more comic reviews.